Back on the Common Sense Club and the Scott Hinton Show. You got to love the Bee Gees. You absolutely do. You also have to love a member of Congress that is a doctor and gets it done day in and day out. Who better to set things straight there? Part of the Doctor Caucus that's setting the record straight on Obamacare, and a good friend and colleague, obviously, of Congressman Paul Ryan, also on the Budget Committee, chair of the House Republican Policy Committee. Tom Price is back with us on the Common Sense Club. Dr. Price, nice to have you. How are you?
Hey, Scott. Thanks so much. Wonderful. Good to be with you again.
So talk about Paul Ryan personally, first of all. I see there's a new poll that suggests that he's led a little bit of a surge to the Romney campaign with younger voters. So some early tea leaves on how he's being received out there and obviously resonating with but what would you tell us about Paul Ryan that maybe folks don't know just from your personal friendship with him?
Well, I've known him for a number of years, a close friend, dear friend, and what a great guy. He's one of those guys that you think, how could somebody this nice, this sincere, this humble, this unassuming actually make it to the top in politics? It just doesn't happen. So it's a great story, and I'm telling you, this team, I believe, Governor Romney and Congressman Ryan, are uniquely qualified to take the helm at this point in our nation's history and turn this country back in the right direction.
We're going to talk to Bill Kristol, the Weekly Standard, and, of course, he's been a big Paul Ryan fan for a while. He wrote a piece yesterday just blistering sort of the establishment, kind of echo chamber, because there were some operatives that were hand-wringing that, this is bad, and it's going to make it tougher for congressional races. Who's winning that battle? Is the establishment elitists hand-wringers, or are real folks out in real America? Which one's winning?
Scott, I think real folks are, and I think it's the evidence for that is the enthusiasm and the optimism and the numbers of individuals that are now showing up to these rallies. They see a young, accomplished individual, a fellow who is optimistic about America's future so long as we do the right thing, and a fellow who understands the challenges that we face and has a way forward. So I think it's a great pick, and look, this Paul's humility and sensibility, I think, will just shine through over the next 83 days. And I think he's exactly where he needs to be right now, and a great pick.
We asked our audience, and have been throughout the day, and will continue to, this question of whether or not the fact that President Obama's $700 billion cuts to Medicare, which were to pay for Obamacare, and we've got him saying it, we've got his staff saying it, so kind of a crazy argument that he doesn't do that, but he clearly does, and even had, I think, their Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius up in Capitol Hill saying they use it twice, actually, to pay for Obamacare and to shore up Medicare. So it's amazing what they've admitted on the record here, and now seem to have amnesia. But our question was, does it, undermine his campaign attacks on the Ryan budget now when he's done that? One listener said, hard to say because the alternate universe implied by the question conveniently overlooks two salient points. The cuts aren't cuts, and Ryan's much ballyhooed budget plan would do the same thing. Is that true?
No, the only reason, and having served on the Budget Committee with Paul and worked on the path to prosperity with him, and especially the health care portion, the only reason that the $700 billion has to be accounted for in our budget, the Republican budget, is because the Democrats, the president, took it away from Medicare. So in order to get it back in, you got to address it, and that's what we do. We make it so that would make it so that nobody over the age of 55 would see any changes at all to the Medicare promise that has been made to them. And for those under, they get in essence the same kind of health coverage that members of Congress do. So it's a win-win, and the people who say otherwise are just demagoguing the issue.
I heard Mitt Romney explain it's probably the best it's been explained, and there's also a new ad out on this front. So it's kind of fun to see Republicans go on offense on Medicare because, the age-old thing is to demagogue this and go back to wheelchairs with grannies going over the cliff, right?
Well, we've got the solution, and that's why we need to go on offense. That's why I'm so excited and enthusiastic about this, because people understand, and even seniors understand, that, look, the situation cannot continue because of the changing demographics, the aging of our population. And so something has to be done. And seniors want to make certain that there's going to be a program available for their kids and for their grandkids, and that's what we offer.
Now, Joe Biden yesterday said, hey, they're going to put you all back in chains with this budget, and they're running around talking about how the value is represented. A great comment from a listener, Tom, says, where is his budget? It's like someone making fun of my car when they don't have a car, which is a great line. But, I mean, you saw that, right? I mean, we have a budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Ryan budget balances in 2040. I mean, it isn't like this is we still got a lot of work to dig out of this out of this big hole. It isn't like overnight we're expecting this thing to balance, right?
What it does is get us on that path to balance, and that's what the bondholders, that's what the markets need to see. They need to know that, in fact, we're moving in a positive and the right direction. The problem with the president's budget, which, by the way, got 0 votes in favor of it in Congress, but the problem with the president's budget is that it goes in exactly the wrong direction. It goes to the sky's the limit on the amount of debt and spending that they would undertake. That's why the contrast is so wonderfully illustrative and very clear and stark for the American people to see. There's a group that wants to solve the problems. That's Governor Romney and Congressman Ryan, and then there's a group that wants to stick their head in the sand and doesn't want to address the issues, and that's the president and Biden.
So just to be clear, though, the budget plan that Ryan has put forward specific to Medicare, it doesn't do the same thing that Obama did, because he's doing it for Obamacare, right?
Yeah, he's taking the money out, the $700 billion out, using it to expand an entitlement program in a way that has the government forcing people to purchase insurance, and putting in place a 15-member unelected board of bureaucrats, the Independent Payment Advisory Board, to tell doctors what they won't pay them for when they're taking care of seniors. That's the Obama plan in a nutshell as it relates to Medicare.
Tom Price is with us, who chairs, by the way, the Republican Policy Committee in the House. What did you make of those attacks, by the way? I mean, we're sort of used to them, and I thought Mitt Romney responded well by saying, take the anger, take the division, take the hate back to Chicago. But, we should call him on it, shouldn't we?
Well, absolutely. I mean, these folks clearly can't run on their record, and so what they're running on is fear and scare tactics and dividing the country. It should be beneath any statement like that by somebody who's running for elective office at the federal level. It just doesn't make any sense at all. The American people are so sick and tired of these kind of antics, and to have the vice president stand up there and do what he's done over his career, but more incredibly over the last couple of years, and then certainly this week, it's just sad. It's sad to see an individual who has been elected as a leader of our country stoop to such depths.
By the way, do you see the Erskine Bowles comment? That was kind of a very interesting one.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and the little truth serum there. Oh. And similar to Bill Clinton. Do you think, a final question for you, Dr. Price, do you think Mitt Romney needed Paul Ryan to win? I mean, the polls seem to be suggesting this is an uphill battle. Is it? And does the Ryan addition change all that?
Well, I think that Governor Romney is again uniquely qualified at this time to turn our nation around. If you think about it, what his professional life has been is to turn around distressed entities. If the United States isn't a distressed entity, I don't know what is. So he's uniquely qualified. There were a number of individuals I think that would have benefited the ticket, and I think Paul Ryan, as the closest to me of the individuals who were being considered because we served in the House for such a period of time together, I think he's a great nominee, and I think the ticket is wonderful and will inspire the country.
Good to catch up with you.
Thanks.
Early tea leaves prove you correct on that inspiration factor.
Exactly.
There's a little bounce in everybody's step. Let's see if it sustains through the convention on into the crunch time of election 2012. Tom Price, take care. Good to talk to you.